Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I will show you how to make a fail-proof lasagna, a rich and deeply flavorful ragu, a silky smooth bechamel, and the perfect homemade pasta for an ultimate classic Italian feast. So to start off with, we'll be making our sofrito, essential base for Italian and French cuisine. Carrots, onions and celery. Without these ingredients the dish just wouldn't be the same. We will start off by peeling one large carrot, slicing away each side in order to make one long rectangular shape. This makes dicing the carrots easier and also allows us to form the perfect cubes. Cut one stick of celery into a fine dice. Also, fine dice one brown onion. Vegetables should be cut roughly the same size. This will make the vegetables cook evenly and will give you a better end result. Pick and cross chop a few sprigs of fresh rosemary for our sofrito. Rosemary is optional, but I just love the natural woody flavour it gives our sauce. Fry off our base in olive oil. Be generous, we want our veg to be cooked evenly. We also want our vegetables to be soft and translucent, so make sure you cook it on a medium to low heat so we don't get any unwanted caramelization at this stage. Into our sofrito go in 2 bay leaves, our finely chopped rosemary, season with salt and pepper, and around a tablespoon of garlic puree. Once the vegetables are cooked, set aside and strain the oil. We will need to reserve this oil to brown off our beef. This oil is packed full of flavour. We don't want any of that flavour going to waste. Pour the oil back into a pot and throw in the beef mince. Break it up as much as possible so we don't leave any huge clumps of beef in our meat sauce at the end. Once the water has evaporated from our beef and it's nice and browned, return our sofrito mix back into the beef and cover with a litre of passata. Once our sofrito and brown beef are mixed through well, add 1 heaped tablespoon of tomato puree. I also added a heaped tablespoon of sugar as it will bring out the sweetness of our tomatoes, carrots and onions. Cover with around a litre of boiling water and let it reduce for around 3 to 4 hours. Low and slow is the process. During this stage the meat will tenderize and form a bond with our sauce and it will combine into one. Remember, this is a meat sauce, not meat with sauce. Check up on your meat sauce every 20 minutes or so and give it a stir so nothing catches at the bottom. Once you've achieved the perfect sauce, season it with garlic powder, salt and pepper. Once cooled, cover it with cling film and leave it in the fridge overnight to let all those lovely flavours intensify. For our pasta dough, we will need 400 grams of 00 flour and 4 eggs. 1 egg per 100 grams of flour. In this recipe I use 3 eggs and 1 egg yolk, and leave some of the flour on the surface until I reach the desired consistency. Make a well in the flour and add your beaten eggs, a touch of olive oil and season. Bring the dough together with a fork, slowly adding more flour from the outside in. Knead the dough for around 10 minutes, rolling it out back on itself and stretching it out slightly. You want your dough to be firm, not wet. Once you can place your finger into the dough and it springs back gently, you're all ready to go. Cling film and place in the fridge to chill for around 30 minutes before rolling. Now, for the rolling of your pasta. Quarter your dough. Flatten out each piece and roll it through the pasta machine on 0. Then laminate it by making book-turn folds and roll it out until it bonds. We laminate the dough to help us with the final texture of our pasta. This step will also help us to get the perfect shape for our pasta sheets. After your dough is laminated, keep rolling out the dough, changing the thickness every time. I went to number 6 as it gives me the thickness as I wanted, but do it to the thickness that pleases you. If by any chance you roll out the pasta too thin, you can always bring it back into a ball and start again. This is all about trial and error until you get comfortable with this process. This process can also be done with a rolling pin. Still laminate your pasta, but make sure to keep it nice and even. I should really be using a rolling pin here, but fun fact, I don't have one. Flour your pasta sheets lightly to stop them from sticking. Trim the pasta sheets to the size of your baking dish and set aside to dry whilst we make our white sauce. place around 50 grams of butter until melted. I took it a touch further and made brown butter. You don't have to do it, but I think it just gives the white sauce an amazing depth of flavour. Stir in 50 grams of plain flour. You want to cook out the raw flavour from the flour before adding the milk. This process can take roughly around 2 minutes on a medium to low heat. Add around 700 milliliters of milk, a little at a time, and whisk. Adding the milk in stages prevents the sauce from going lumpy. Once the milk is added and it looks velvety and smooth, season with parmesan, salt and pepper. Leave the white sauce to chill. Place a layer of cling film inside a saucepan, letting the cling film touch the sauce evenly. This will stop the sauce forming a skin. Blanch the pasta sheets in boiling salted water. This process will take around 30 seconds per sheet as the pasta is fresh and will finish off cooking in the oven. Place the blanched pasta on a cooling rack and brush with a touch of olive oil. Now it's time to bring all your individual components together. Place a large spoonful of the meat sauce at the bottom of your baking dish. We do this in order for the pasta not to stick at the bottom in the cooking process. Now, layer by layer, we will go with the pasta sheet, meat sauce, white sauce and a grating of parmesan. Repeat this 4 times depending on the size of your dish until you reach the top. Just remember, you always want your top layer to be white sauce, as it will hold the cheese nicely and bubble away in the oven. Once you've laid your lasagna right to the top, cling film and set aside in the fridge while you preheat your oven at around 200 degrees. When the lasagna is ready for the oven, cover with grated mozzarella and more parmesan. Drop down the temperature to around 170 degrees so it can cook gently and not scorch on the top. Cook for around 45 minutes. 5 minutes before taking the lasagna out, bring up the temperature back up to 200 degrees so the cheese can get nice and crispy and form that crunchy layer. How could you not get excited about this? I mean, just look at it. Just look at that. Wow. Hopefully you've enjoyed this video and I will see you again shortly.